Tinkat, and I'm going to tell you the basics on how to put together this no brand table saw that I got off Amazon. It was about $125 on Amazon, and the instruction booklet is completely in Chinese, and I saw a lot of reviews that people didn't know how to put it together, and I know nothing about tools or table saws, but I was able to figure out how to put it together, and I thought I'd share this video with other people. So here are the items it comes with all laid out. We've got a box that says nothing about it. This is a mini table saw, mostly good for crafting. It's not good for really big jobs. So it comes with one blade and this little shank for the drill attachment on the side. It's got the guard. And a miter angle thing. It comes with these hole attachments and sander attachments, but that's about it for the side drill. And then you've got these little hex keys or Allen wrenches, which will probably be your best friend in putting this together. And they come in different sizes, and I just lined them up for width before I started. This is a power, and you adjust the power by just turning it on the side. It's on the cord. So here you've got the table and the blade, and I also have a pair of pliers I wound up needing to use for part of it. And I've got these little plastic containers that I just kept the different parts in to keep them organized because I'm likely to lose things when I'm putting them together. And I have this cloth which protects me from the blade. The first thing we're going to do is install the blade, and you have to take the tabletop off just with these little hex keys, and they're L-shaped, and to get the best torque you want to put the shortest end of the L shape into the little screws. And in case you don't know which way to turn it, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, so turn them towards the left or counterclockwise. You also have to undo these four little ones in the center here, and they use one size smaller of the Allen wrenches or hex keys. So put those screws all aside together, and then you can just lift straight off the top, and the motor is underneath. So I'm just lifting the motor out but keeping it attached. There may be a way to attach it, but I'm not sure. So I need to get the blade between those two black discs, which means I need to loosen it at the end. I actually need two hex keys for that of different sizes. One goes in the end here as seen, and I will turn that to loosen it a little bit. If it's too tight and it won't loosen, on the other side there's a little hole next to those green bands, and you just stick a hex key into that, and that will keep it from rotating as you loosen the other end. If you don't see that hole, you can just twist it around until that hole shows up at top. So you want to unscrew that completely so you can get those discs off. And as you can see, that little nut there is between the screw and the disc. So I saw online that a lot of people complained that their blade didn't fit. And it actually doesn't fit that little rim really, but you can make this blade work. So I just, first I held it with a rag so that I wouldn't cut myself while I was screwing this on because it can be a little awkward. So when I rested this on the side, I wanted to make sure I didn't rest it on those bands. They don't seem super, the belts don't seem super sturdy. They're just like made out of plastic. So just pay attention on which way you put this disc back on because it only fits one way. I know this because I did it wrong the first time, and then the little bolt goes on the outside before you put the screw back in. So once I have it completely, first I tighten it a little and then I use the hex key again and tighten it more. But before it's completely tight, I just center it a little to get it as centered as possible, and it seems to work for me. So I tighten it with the little Allen wrench, but remember you can always use the other Allen wrench to hold the back side of it if it's twisting on you. And then I simply lay it in on its side so that the blade fits in the inside the little box and the little discs are in that open area there. And then the hardest part for me is putting that top on. To do that, I had to slip my hand in the hole where the chuck is on the side opening, and I have to basically hold the bottom of the engine, is that what it's called? Bottom of the motor up against those screw holes so that I can line those up carefully and screw them in. So I screwed them in maybe about 80%, but not all the way in. And I did that with all four, and then I tightened them. I know this is like super basic, and I probably sound ridiculous, but there were so many people who couldn't figure out how to put this together at all. So just trying to help out here. As you can see, I just threw that rag over the blade there so I don't scratch myself on it. I don't think I can do myself serious damage with it, but just to be a little extra careful, especially since I'm not around power tools very often. So after you get done with this part, you can go on to the four outer screws around the edges. I think it's just one hex key larger for the ones on the four corners of the table saw. So one thing I noticed in the reviews is people complained that there was no way to raise or lower the actual blade once it was installed. And I found a way to do that. It's not super intuitive, so maybe people just missed it, but I wanted to share that. See that little hole right there? You just put, I think it's the larger Allen wrench in there, and you just turn it one way and it lowers it, and the other way and it raises it. And it can be lowered pretty far. I'm going to be cutting really thin pieces of wood, so I've had to have it really low, but it raises up, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an inch, an inch. And the next piece I'm going to attach here is just called the miter gauge. And basically it's for cutting things at angles. Like if you were doing a picture frame, you would do it at a 45-degree angle, which I have it tilted to here. And it just helps you cut your wood at angles. You just have to loosen the little bolts with one of the smaller hex keys to get it to move back and forth there. So this attaches really easy. You just slip it into that little slot there. I see a potential issue with this because it seems like there's a little tiny space underneath this guide. So especially with really thin pieces of wood, it will slip underneath there and it will be hard to cut it straight. So I'm thinking I may need to just glue a piece of wood onto it to keep my smaller pieces from slipping underneath there. Maybe it's this way for a reason, and if you know, please just leave me a comment below. I would appreciate that. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. So you just attach the fence using these little wing bolt screws. The wings, for some reason, need to go on the top. It won't fit on the sides underneath. And you screw the little blade guard up onto the top part of the fence. And then you can screw the whole fence in to the left side of the saw table. Once you get the fence screwed in, you can actually adjust it back and forth along these little slots just by loosening it, moving it, and adjusting it. There is a rule mark there. It's hard to see in this video, but there is a mark of length of the rule there. I'm probably showing too much and talking about things that are just completely obvious, but I really know nothing, so I'm doing this assuming that other people also know nothing and need all the help they can get. The next part we're going to do is attach the chuck on the side, which is for the sander or the hole cutter. It comes with 3 different hole cutters with this knife, which is nice. We have these little tiny screws that you use to attach it. So I did need my pliers for them. And first I put the screws in with my fingers as much as I could. And then there is a hex key for it, but it's not L-shaped, it's straight. Probably so it fits, you can turn it without it bumping into the edge of the saw there. But I did have some trouble turning it, it would just slip with my fingers, so that's what I wound up using the pliers for. I just grasped the hex key with the pliers and use that to tighten it for the last bit. And you do want to get this part good and tight. I believe you can just leave it on while you're using the saw. But you want it tight because you don't want it to come flying out at you. So there's this little black key. It looks like there's a gear on it, and that's what you will use to get the shank of the attachments in. So there is these hole cutters, and there are 3 different sizes. Plus it comes with this little sanding pad, and the sandpaper sticks on with Velcro. It does come with a bit with a screw end as well that you can do something like attach a buffing attachment to. It also comes with this little triangle tool, some sort of measurement tool it looks like, and I don't know what it is. If you know, maybe you can leave the answer in the comments for me and help me out. I hope you found this helpful. If not, I apologize, but please don't hate me. Have a good day. Bye.